everyone, it's Antonio from Paired Recruiting. In today's video, we're tackling a topic that is absolutely essential for anyone involved in international hiring. I'm talking about the IRS Form W-8 BEN. And whether you're a business owner looking to tap into global talent or a foreign professional seeking opportunities in the US, understanding Form W-8 BEN saves you time, money, and hassle. I'm going to cover what this form is, who needs to file it, how to file it, and the potential consequences of ignoring it. And if you're feeling overwhelmed, don't worry. We at Paired Recruiting are here to help. We've got a team of experts who can guide you through the entire process, ensuring you're compliant and maximizing your tax benefits. So let's dive in and demystify Form W-8 BEN together. First things first, what is Form W-8 BEN? This form, officially known as the Certificate of Foreign Status of Beneficial Owner for United States Tax Withholding and Reporting Individuals, is a tax form that non-US individuals use to confirm their foreign status and potentially claim tax treaty benefits. You may ask, why should I care? Well, this form directly impacts how much tax is withheld from a foreign worker's paycheck. Without it, US employers are required to default to withhold a flat 30% of your earnings. That's a significant chunk of change, to say the least. But here's the good news: tax treaties. Many countries have agreements with the US to prevent double taxation. This means that if your home country has a tax treaty with the US, you might qualify for a reduced withholding rate or even complete exemption. That's why Form W-8 BEN is essential. It's your ticket to claiming those treaty benefits and potentially saving thousands of dollars in taxes. Let's move on to who needs to file Form W-8 BEN. This form applies to a wide range of workers: freelancers, consultants, remote employees, and anyone else who isn't a US citizen or resident but is providing services to an American employer. For example, if you're a software developer in India working for a tech company in Silicon Valley, you'd need to fill out the Form W-8 BEN. Here's another scenario. If you're a freelance writer in Canada creating content for a US-based marketing agency, this form applies now to you too. For US companies, your foreign hires must complete this form. Look at it for what it is. It's a legal requirement. Besides, neglecting it can trigger IRS audits, penalties, and a mountain of paperwork. So you definitely want to avoid this trouble. Okay, let's move on how to file Form W-8 BEN and demystify the filing process. First things first, if you're working for a US company, your employer should provide you with the form. They'll usually do this when you're first hired, or they might have a system in place for you to access it online. Next, you'll need to fill it out accurately. This includes providing your personal details such as your name, address, date of birth, etc. You'll also need to provide your Foreign Tax Identification Number, or FTIN, which is the equivalent of a US Social Security number, but from your home country. If your country has a tax treaty with the US, you'll want to claim the relevant treaty benefits on the form. And this is where it gets a bit trickier. Here, you need to know which treaty applies and what benefits you're entitled to. Once you've completed the form, don't forget to sign and date it. That's like the final stamp of approval. And remember, you hand this form over to your employer and not the IRS directly. Your employer will then use the information on your form to determine the correct amount of tax to be withheld from your paycheck. If you're feeling a bit lost, don't hesitate to ask for help. Your employer or a tax advisor can clear up any confusion and ensure your form is filled out correctly. Okay, let's shift gears a little and talk some important best practices and consequences. For employers, it's a best practice to request a form as soon as a foreign worker is onboarded. To streamline the process, you can consider using digital tools. There are many platforms available that allow you to collect and manage W-8 BEN forms electronically, making it easier for both you and your employees. Now, for foreign professionals, you'll want to double and even triple check every detail before submitting the form. Errors can cause delays or even incorrect tax withholding. Now, what if you ignore Form W-8 BEN altogether? Honestly, that's a worst case scenario and a recipe for a disaster. This means you could have a much larger tax bill than expected. Remember that default 30% tax withholding I mentioned earlier? Yeah, that could be applied to your entire income, which will leave you with a lot less take-home pay. For employers, the consequences can be even more severe. The IRS could hit you with penalties, back taxes, and even legal trouble. It could also damage your reputation and make it harder to attract top talent in the future. You really want to avoid this situation at all costs. Let's walk through the form together and how to fill it out correctly. At the top of the form, you'll see Part 1, Identification of Beneficial Owner. This is where you'll enter your personal information. Line 1, type or print your full name as it appears on your official document. Line 2, enter your country of citizenship. If you have dual citizenship, list a country where you're both a citizen and a resident. Line 3, this is for your permanent residence address. Make sure to use the address in the country where you claim to be a resident for tax purposes. Don't use a PO box or in care of address. Line 4, if your mailing address is different from your permanent residence, enter it here. Otherwise, you can write same as above or leave it blank. Line 5, this is for your US taxpayer identification number, SSN or ITIN, if you have one. Most foreign individuals won't have this, so you can leave it blank. Line 6, enter your foreign tax identifying number or FTIN. This is usually issued by your country of residence. Line 7, reference number. This is optional and usually left blank unless your employer provides you with a specific number. Line 8, enter your date of birth in the YYYY format. Now let's move on to part 2, which is where you'll claim your tax treaty benefits if they apply to you. Line 9, list your country of residence or tax treaty purposes. Line 10, this line is for special rates and conditions. You'll need to specify the treaty article, the percentage rate of withholding, and the type of income if you're claiming a reduced rate. Remember, if you're unsure about treaty benefits, it's best to consult with a tax professional. Part 3, certification. The final section is part 3, where you certify the information you've provided is true and correct. Line 12, read the certification statement carefully. 13, sign and date the form in the spaces provided. 14, if you're signing as an agent, you must complete the capacity in which acting line. And there you have it. You've now completed Form W-8 BEN. Remember to review all the information you've entered for accuracy before submitting it to your employer or withholding agent. Okay, that's a wrap on Form W-8 BEN. While this form may seem like just a small detail, the reality is that it has a huge impact on ensuring fair compensation for international talent. And fair compensation is a cornerstone of building a successful and engaged global team. Now, I know some of this administrative stuff can be a bit overwhelming, but that's where we come in. At Paired Recruiting, we are passionate about simplifying the complexities of international hiring so you can focus on what truly matters, growing your business with the best remote talent. If you're ready to tap into global talent and build your dream team, we'd love to help. We offer a 100% risk-free guarantee. If you don't find the perfect candidate through us, you don't pay, period. So head over to our website or check the link in the description below to learn more about how Paired Recruiting can supercharge your global hiring efforts.